So that was a half of the poem. Now we have some thoughtful, pregnant silence between the parts. And then we continue.
Okay.
Poor dears. Poor fools. I've had such fun robbing you blind.
Yeah. Again, there's some irony. There's something that is both saying, okay, you are poor, and that might be seen as feeling sorry.
Mm-hmm.
But then, poor dears, that might be, yeah, I feel sorry for you. But then, poor fools, poor fools.
Mm-hmm.
And again, there's a contrast between the previous part where we were told about, well, poor can mean you are in a very bad condition. It can mean we feel sorry for you, but it can also mean poor, you have no money, and you've been just given a couple of shekels.
Ironically, again, it's dear, like expensive.
And it's dear, like expensive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, poor dear.
So you are dear, without probably understanding it. But because you don't understand it, you are poor, and you are a fool. And you are a fool and you are poor because you're allowed us to rob you of your gift, of your money, of something that is much more important to us than just plain money.
And we have had such fun robbing you blind.
Yeah, and it was fun. At least I'm trying to persuade myself that it was fun, although it was too easy to be fun, as we know.
Oh, still, you have to have some fun in some way. If you do your job, you must have a bit of fun, no matter what the job is. So they can rob you in some amusing ways, just for a change, or they can amuse themselves by putting the clues into some funny places. Oh, it may be fun. It should be fun for them, because otherwise they wouldn't be able to do their part of the job or the contract, whatever it is. Again, if we talk about like Lucifer, we have bow before the goddess of more informed consent. So we have some goddess, and we bow before the goddess, and it's obviously not right. It's mal-informed, ill-informed. So you're not supposed to bow before goddesses. Again, if we take that context, then that's a supreme irony that we have the supreme force, or let's say God, or well, God is a word which is kind of over-labeled and overused. Let's say supreme force, which keeps an eye on all of that, like a parent who is looking after a child and lets the child play and lets the child explore and learn and develop. But as it's a parent, if the child comes too close to the pit, they will just stop the child. But as long as it's safe, even if it doesn't look safe, they'll just let them play. It's like in some traditional cultures and some tribes, they say you may see a picture like that. Children, like 5-year-old, look after children who are like 2-year-old, and they sit just by the edge of a big pit. They are not falling, because they're not stupid, and nobody makes the slightest fuss about it, because they know that the children are not stupid, they're not going to fall into the pit. Can you imagine that in, like, European tradition? No adults around, just a 5-year-old people, looking after 2-year-old people, and they just sit near a big pit, and no problem. They're natural, like little goats who can jump from a cliff to a cliff and climb vertical walls, no problem. They're not stupid, they're not falling. So the same here. You may think, but the humanity is sitting at the edge of a very big and scary pit, and we're like 2-year-old children. But the parent, the mother, the father, whoever, whatever you prefer, the parent knows it's safe, the parent trusts you, and the parent looks after you in case if you do fall into that pit, apparently. So we have all these monologues, and again the ultimate irony is that he misses the biggest part of it. He misses all of it, because he can't see it, he can't see anything, because he's self-concentrated, apparently. Yeah, he can't understand it. He says, I don't know why I feel that way, something's wrong, I don't understand it, because he can't see the big picture. He can see the small picture, he can look down, but he can't look up, because he believes he is the biggest guy in the district, apparently. So we have had such fun robbing you blind. So we come back to the beginning, because we had a pause. We need to remind ourselves what it was about. Robbing, and were I to say destroying you? Comment.
Well, again, as I mentioned, a few minutes earlier, robbing, when you rob someone, you don't do
much harm.
You do you do some harm, but not much harm. Too much harm.
Mm-hmm.
While destroying someone means basically doing what a murderer can do. You can destroy a person in various ways. It doesn't necessarily mean to kill, but in that it's all encompassing. So there are lots and lots and lots of ways open for you if you want to destroy someone, and it seems that you are efficient in using any one of them to bring about this task.
Yes.
Again, why you are doing it, no one knows. You probably don't know it yourself, except for the fact you derive some sort of pleasure from it.
Maybe it's just job. He doesn't seem to enjoy it, but it's a job and he has to do it. For some reason, we don't know why. But it's something technical, like a farming, harvesting. So, yeah, like you say, in other words, the first part was more or less light, but now we start, for anyone who's had the patience to read to that point, we start speaking business, coming to the more essential issues, let's say. Because if you rob me, maybe it's not a big problem, because you take something from me, you give something to me, really. But now you say you're destroying me. Would that be interpreted as hyperbole or finally? finally taken as gospel truth?
Again, destroying, is it too much to say that all of this is destroying you?
Well,
or maybe
again,
it's all true.
Again, it all has to be in the plain sight, but nobody believes it. It's like, no, they can't be doing it. They can't be putting like cyanide into air to make people ill. No. They can't possibly be poisoning our water supplies on like government level. Surely it's wrong. Surely you just don't understand it. Surely they have some good reasons for it. It's all in the plain sight, but you just don't believe it. Here we have this poem spoken plainly. You have the information, it's in front of you, but you still think, oh well, it's just a poem, it's not real, it's just somebody having fun at my expense. It is real. The second you understand it, it changes, it stops being a poem, it starts being something different. Would that be interpreted as hyperbole? Finally taken as gospel truth. So they want you to believe it in a way. Because, again, maybe because he is bored of that stupidity. It's like, I tell you straightforwardly that I'm going to kill you. You think I'm joking? I tell you, oh, I've just put some cyanide into your water, and you're like, haha, very funny. Because you think I'm your friend. You think I can't do it because I'm your friend. So if I tell you the truth, you just don't believe it. And that book I mentioned the other time, the Satan's Sorrow, it has it there as well. Satan, Lucifer, he tells the man again and again and again, he says, I'm the bad guy, I'm not going to do any good. Why don't you take your money and give it to the poor or something? He says, please, if you're in your right mind, then just part with me. He says it again and again and again in the book. And the man is just like, oh, you're kidding, you're my best friend, I can't possibly part with you, you're helping me, you're a great guy. So again and again, it's expressed really plainly and straightforwardly. Again and again, we just don't believe it. Oh, no, it's just a hyperbole. It can't be true. Finally taken as gospel truth. Will they ever learn? Then, of course, we have gospel coming into the picture, gospel truth.
Yeah. Where there's much about the danger of accepting him as your friend.
Mm-hmm.
And there's much to guard you against. Yeah.
But then again, the way they do it is really tricky, because they're not saying, oh, we are evil, come join us. Or they say, oh, we are your servants, we can bring you some pleasure. You can do what you like, you're great, you're amazing, you don't need any god above you. You could go and have some illegal fun, something that has never been accepted as normal except now in some places like America. And it's spreading so that children think it's normal, because they see it everywhere on the internet. Malinformed, ill-informed, and they start to believe it's normal. They start to believe that lots of things are normal, like abortion is normal, or sodomites are normal, or you name it. something that has never been accepted. I wonder. Oh, that's the way that Lucifer works. Twisting, ill-informing, mal-informing, and then you just follow it. Which is why it's tricky, because it seems so logical, so pleasant, so easy, so nice. You can do what you like and you have no obligations whatsoever, they say. Yeah, it's true in the sense that you can do whatever you like, but what they do not tell you is that you have to pay for it as well. Somehow they forget to mention that bit. I wonder. You see, yeah. You're as good as dead.
So now you are dead, you've been destroyed, and you worth as much as the dead people are worth.
No, it's like you may consider yourself dead.
Yeah.
Because who says that the dead people have no value?
Well, in fact, they do have. They do have.
No, it's like you're not dead yet, but there's no difference between what you are now and being dead, because if you follow that line, if you follow that ill-informed policy, if you bow down, then you're not a being, you're not human, you're just a little, I don't know, flea. So you're as good as dead. You could be dead. Maybe that would be even better for you to be dead, because now you have lost yourself completely. To admit to yourselves how utterly, again utterly from the beginning of the poem, utterly hoodwinked, how utterly misplaced your faith has been in our shallow, beyond words, lies and deceptions, would break your little conclaves of remaining ego. Again, look here, in that poem, in many places, we tell you quite openly what is going on, but you can't admit it. If you use the computer simile, then it's like your system would be overloaded. Bang! Too much. It's incompatible with your ego system. So we have ecosystem and we have ego system. We do. And ecosystem can take it, can adapt to it, while ecosystem is fixed. And when you try to change the frames, like the frames of reference, then it won't move. It's not flexible, so it breaks. Either it ignores all the changes and then dies because the changes are there, or it breaks. You can't admit, cause to admit how much of an idiot you've been. Who wants that? Who wants to admit being an idiot? Misplaced. So again, ill-informed, mal-informed, misplaced, disjointed. So all this reality which we see in this poem is not holistic, is not coherent. It's all falling apart. It has some strange angles which do not really come together. It's all broken. Ah, what a happy place, what a happy place. to admit to yourselves, not to me, not to God, just to yourselves. Yeah, again, is it more difficult to admit something to yourself or to admit something to somebody else? But at least to yourself. I'm not saying you should make it public. I'm not saying you understand it and then you go out and start shouting in the streets, "Oh, I'm an idiot, you're an idiot, we're all idiots." Well, some people do that. Not everybody. But you don't have to do it. All you have to do, all you should do is just admit it to yourself. You can't. Utterly misplaced your faith has been. So again, we talk about faith. So bow before the goddess, believing we are here to help, convincing. Now again, faith, trust, faith. Is it different, faith and trust?
To some extent it is. Faith, trust can mean something more practical. You can trust a person, you can trust that a person is telling the truth, and then your trust might be misplaced. Your faith in the person means something more, perhaps, because the person might be doing wrong, including doing wrong to you, and yet you have faith in that person. You trust that this person is not evil, he or she is not as bad as his or her actions are, and that this could be there could be something done to correct it. And as far as I understand, the person speaking in the poem has no faith in people, and that's basically what makes him very much like many of us. I think it was Gilbert Chesterton who, when writing Francis of Assisi's biography, said that his main feature was not only that he had faith in God, many people do or think they do, but he also had faith in people. He liked people and he believed they were not as bad as they sometimes seem to be, and that faith is probably a very rare thing, and not all of us, I'm speaking for myself at least, possess that sort of faith. And this is probably what makes us cynical, what makes us pessimistic, and so on. Unlike Saint Francis of Assisi, unlike other saints, unlike sometimes unlike poor people who are poor because they have no money, no education, no something, but who do trust the others, do have faith in the others.
Although at the same time you can have poor people who are quite downcast and who are quite rude and unpleasant.
Yeah, absolutely.
Again, it's like they say, it's the same story of the shekel. So if you're poor but you love money, then it doesn't matter if you're poor, because you love money. You have 1 penny, 1 ruble, 1 shekel, and you're just mad about it. Oh, then it makes no difference if you just have 1 penny. Or you can have 10 million and not really care. Maybe it's a bit more, I don't know if it's more difficult. suppose it happens, then it doesn't matter if you're rich. It's about, again, like, discipline. Yeah, so faith, again, your faith in me, you're not faith in God, not faith, but faith in me, and it's misplaced, utterly misplaced. I tell you so, and you still can't believe me. In our shallow, we have no depth. If you have any kind of shred of brain, then you would see it beyond words. So that's nice. Shallow beyond words, like really, really shallow, or shallow beyond words, hiding beyond words, between the lines, beyond words. I tell you something, but I'm not telling you the whole truth. Yeah?
Yeah.
Our shallow lies and deceptions. So he knows it's shallow, but they eat it. It's like, I don't know, a musician plays badly, but nobody really is really listening. He knows he plays awfully because he doesn't care, because he knows they're not listening. And everybody likes it because they're not listening and they just hear, oh, yo, music. It's not even music, and he knows, and that hurts you as an artist. Or like if somebody buys some, I don't know, tea and or cheese or something, I don't know, and they don't really know the difference, they only look at the name and the price, then the seller can sell you some stupid piece of tea or cheese and say it's good, and you'll never know the difference. He knows the difference, and again, maybe he doesn't care, maybe he's happy to make money off you because you'll buy it, not because it's nice and tasty, just because there's the name and the price on it. But if you're an artist, you know how shallow it is. Again, it's like, what's that Russian essay writer, Andrei Bitov, in one of his essays, he says, like, an artist, well, you look at the paintings, like with the Madonnas, and everybody says, oh, the Madonnas are really amazing, and they are, but nobody looks at the baby, and the babies are ugly. And if you're an artist, then you don't care about the Madonna, because anyone can picture a Madonna and she will be beautiful, it's not a problem. But you are aware of your ugly baby. You know that your painting is stupid, that you failed at painting the baby. But you're the only person who cares. Everybody else just looks at your painting and says, oh, that's an amazing painting, how did you do it? God, not again. So from your point of view, because you're an expert, you know it's shallow, you can see it's shallow, you're surprised that they're insensitive to that extent. It's like, are they blind? Well, yes, they are blind. Or maybe they're just lazy, because anyone can see it. So shallow lies and deceptions, beyond words, beyond words. Chatting, but somewhere telling you one thing, but it's not true. Well, it's not true, but it's not true again. So admit to yourselves how utterly your faith has been misplaced in our shallow lies. Would break your little conclaves of remaining ego. So on one hand, that's what we are supposed to do, breaking our little conclaves of remaining ego. On another, we are not prepared for it. Again, little dears, little conclaves. Again, you're not big, you're just small and stupid. remaining ego, because you don't have that much ego, which is good, because now you can sell yourself for a shekel or two, but even that remaining tiny little bit is big enough to rule you, is big enough to dictate its rules to you, is big and important enough to affect you, so that breaking those conclaves would just kill you, even though it's just a tiny shred of what it could be. Remaining ego. And how to survive such a blow, I know not.
Again, there's something about a well-educated person here, because he deliberately uses the older form, I know not, and that formula is often used in poetry, but is quite rare elsewhere.
How is it? Okay. Yeah,
so,
please.
To some extent, he is being a bit of pathetic here. I know not.
Pathetic like miserable.
Pathetic like full of pathos. Pathetic like being important, saying things which are true, and or saying things which even he doesn't know the answer to. How to survive such a blow, I know not.
Or. Okay, so he says that beyond words there's another message. There's a double message, there's a triple message, there's a sevenfold message. You go down and down and down. So how to survive such a blow, I know not, means he has not the experience. His ego is remaining with him. If he has ego, his ego, whatever. So he hasn't gone there. He is big, he is great, he is powerful, but he has not done this step of making himself completely free of his ego. Again, if we speak about Lucifer, then that's his basic not problem. Attribute, okay. His basic attribute, his ego, which is big. Then again, we look at the words, like you say, it's an unusual turn of phrase, then maybe we should look at it closer. If we have a strange word in a text, if we have a strange turn of phrase in the text, we look closer at it. I know not. I know not like I don't know, and I know not. I know what? I know not. I know the note. I know the other side of reality, which is not. Because it's easy to know what's in front of you, what is, but he's playing on a deeper level. He knows the other side, he knows not. We think he talks to us on the level of one, but he talks to us on the level of not. And then all his words have a completely different meaning. How to survive such a blow? I know not. Then again, no, like, no. If you want to survive such a blow of your ego being deconstructed, then what you do is you know not. You go to the no side, where ego has no power which is why it's so much afraid of it, really. And there you can deconstruct your ego, because there it doesn't have the grip. It's like, again, the viruses which have to attach, they have to have a special thingies, adapters, whatever they're called, to attach to you. Yeah, so if it's different, which is why the viruses are not really going from species to species, because different species have different configurations, and the viruses are adapted to clutch onto specific configurations. So the same is with the ego. The ego is adapted to 3D reality, to the one reality, the what reality. It's not adapted to a not reality, the no side, or the not what side. So it can't hold on to it. It's just too smooth for it from its point of view. And then it can be deconstructed easily, quite easily. So on one hand he says, it's so horrible, even I don't know how to survive it. On the other hand, he gives you the precise instruction how to do it. Ironically, or intentionally. Again, it's all in the plain sight, but you know not. You don't know how to read it. You do, but you don't trust yourself, because you don't have to be very clever, you just have to feel it. You don't even have to explain it to yourself logically, step by step and word by word. You just have to feel it. It goes into your inner instructions immediately. If you take it as an instruction and not just another poem, if you take it as instruction, as a real thing, not just some crazy poet having fun in his spare time, then it works that way. You don't have to understand it, because again, you understand in the one reality, or there's a parallel process in the no reality, which is much less, if any, languageable. It just happens, really. So I know not. So die, dear ones, die. Happy, happy. Robbing, destroying, how to survive, you know? So die, dear ones, die. Beautiful. Dear ones. So we have no or not. We have dear ones. One on the side of one. You die on the side of one, and you go to the side of no, where you're not dead. In how do we look at the word? Anomaly, I know, meaning. Again, I know, not I know, meaning. Die in one, die dear ones, and go to I know, I, me, I, the meanings of me on the side of no. And then of course we have the gnomiki here, ignominy, like gnomike. So on one hand, when you say ignominy, when you look at that word, it's scornful. It's like, you're total complete losers. You can't even die respectfully. You die in ignominy. But the other side of the message is, I tell you how to survive, you go to the no side, the not side, and then you go to the gnomike, you go to I know side, and then you're not dead, because there's no death in there. And no, so again, no, blow, no, I know, no, oh no, never, no, I know, not, in, I know, meaning, and no. So we are filled with the no energy. And no, that no one. So no, 0 and 1 come together here. No one aided you. So on one hand, no one aided your destruction but yourself. At the same time, it was a 0-1 aiding you. And what seems to be destruction is really a rebirth, is really a progress which that person cannot take, doesn't dare, because he has no faith, apparently. No one aided your destruction more than your own. So all that bit, all that poem, it has a double message. The message which says you're a loser, you're miserable, and the message which gives you precise instructions and helps you. Cool. Comments? Oh no. Oh, no one aided your destruction more than your own desperate desire to believe our bold concoction of half-baked, scarcely credible ramblings. So here we have some nice sounds like desperate, desire, believe, bold.
Yes, and here he is quite open about it.
Yeah, he says it. It's shallow, it's lies, it's deceptions, it's half-baked. Again, it's not even complete, it's half-baked. Scarcely credible. Again, credo, like I believe. You can't believe it.
Yes.
You can't really believe it. It's obvious. It's blatantly obvious. That it's all a lie. It doesn't make any sense. But each time you manage to turn a blind eye to it. Each time you prefer to ignore all the inconsistencies. Because it's easier. Because everybody says it's not true. And that version is true, and everybody says it's true, it must be true. Half-baked. So again, it's a strange change of register. Like we had the wood and the trees in the middle of the first part. Now we have bakery here, interestingly. So desperate desire to believe our ramblings. So your remaining ego is desperate because it knows that the second you take it seriously, the second you accept it, it will die. And it tries to convince you that ego is you. You're not your ego. Ego is a part of you which has to be kept at bay. You need it, but you need to keep it at bay. You are its master, not the other way around. But the way it is, it's just mortally afraid. It would rather believe any source of rubbish than see the truth. Desire to believe our scarcely credible ramblings more than yourselves. And again, on one hand, you want to believe our stupid things more than you believe yourself. Then again, we have the phrase, more than yourselves. You grow more than you believe you are. You see that you are much bigger and much more powerful than you thought you were. For you so wanted to believe. That reason. Again, wanted to believe is like the X-Files. I want to believe, but I never get any proof. but I want to believe. I don't believe, but I want to believe. What's the difference? Believe and want to believe.
Well, belief as such means it's not my choice to a certain extent. It's something I can't get rid of. I believe in something, while want to believe means that belief is really not there.
Mm-hmm.
I am probably desperate trying to believe in something. I probably want to believe in something because that'll bring me comfort, or that'll I might want to believe a person whom I love, and again I might harbor some doubts of whether this person is telling the truth or not. So this situation of wanting to believe implies there's a contradiction. There's a contradiction between something positive and something negative.
Yeah, so in fact you know that it's not really true, but again you're turning the blind eye to it. You want to believe it, even if you feel it's not true. But there are reasons to believe that reason. Isn't it interesting? It's reasonable to believe in reason. Who says so? Reason. Who is that man? Oh, he's a great singer. Who says he's a great singer? He does. Yeah, it's reasonable to believe in reason, so we must believe in reason. That's reasonable. Why is it reasonable? Well, because it's reasonable. It's reason, it must be reasonable. To believe that reason and logic were enough, so why do we repeat the word reason?
Well, because what we do, or what we think we do, is that we are governed by reason, and that our whatever we do in a reasonable way, unless we want to sound disapproving, and then we might say, oh, don't be ridiculous, be reasonable, something like that.
Well, why do we say the word reason thrice?
Because reason is reason sometimes stands in a position to faith, to beliefs, such as what we think is logical, stands in the position to what the reality really is. So,
where does the word logic come from?
Well, the word logic comes from the Greek word logos, which means a word, among other things. I think it has as many words do in Greek, in Latin, in Russian, in English. It has several meanings attached to it. But the popular meaning is logos, and I think that's the meaning in which the word is used in the Greek version of the Gospels.
So now we have words as in logic, as in coding, like logical succession, like logarithm maybe, logarithmical. So again we are working with words, but logos is more than just word, as I understand. It's not just a part of language, it's a part of reality, it's a word which is forming reality. Again, a kind of a spell, or as we say today, a code, but a spell is a code, it doesn't matter which word you use. So this whole poem is logical in the sense that it's words which make reality, construct reality. Maybe. Then again, it's a bit ironic, because we say reason and logic, but logic can be unreasonable. like here, logic can go either way, apparently. So by saying something thrice, we make it true. So we fix our attention on reason. So reason is big and important, and when we say reason, we just focus on it. We repeat it to go kind of deeper into it. Or maybe if you read it in the emotional way, like reason, seriously, reason, like in Lewis Carroll, rhyme and reason. Don't be ridiculous. Reason and logic were enough. It's again, it's what people today like to believe, want to believe. They know it's not true. Everybody can feel it. But if you want to have a mechanical world, then reason and logic must be enough. If there's something more than reason and logic, if you have an illogical factor in your system, if you have an unreasonable factor in your system, if you have a nonsensical factor in your system, then how can you operate that system? You don't have the control, because now you have a stray element which you cannot predict. And if you look at our reality, then we want to be able to predict it. We want to have power, control over it, although it's obviously impossible because it's more than reason and logic. Because if you admit there's something unreasonable, illogical, nonsensical, then your world falls apart. Your ego falls apart because it can't stand the illogical and unreasonable and nonsensical. Your mind cannot deal with it because it doesn't fit in any box. Oh, that's the whole idea of it. Why do we like Lewis Carroll or Leah, Edward Leah or somebody? Because that's what they do. They break the linear logic. You could dispense with sense itself. Yeah, so reason, logic, sense, and then unreasonable, illogical, and nonsensical. But here we have sense like common sense. Again, it's how the brain operates. We have the left part, which is responsible for the, roughly speaking, the right part of the body, and which is just that way. It's logical. It puts things turns it into bits and tries to make a succession of elements, while the right brain, which is the left side of the body more or less, is the holistic view, which can see the whole picture, but it's not very good at details. So we need the two working together. But the left brain believes that logic is enough. So if you say A, all crocodiles are blue, or all crocodiles are flying, B, Bob is a crocodile, then what is the conclusion? And the left brain says Bob can fly, while the right brain says it's nonsense, it makes no sense. Why are you trying to give me something that makes no sense? Crocodiles don't fly. Well, that's how it works. But since our parts of brain never work independently unless there's some kind of illness, we have, as a result, the person says something, well, following the logic, Bob can fly, but really, crocodiles don't fly. But if you look at where it comes from, we have that. Reason and logic are enough, says the left brain. We don't need any sense. Sense itself. And the greatest faculty of all. You believe that you could do without it, really. The greatest faculty of all. The great know thyself, no matter what. So here we have know like knowledge, and know like the know side, because how can you know yourself? You're infinite. You can't know yourself on the one side. You can only do it on the zero side, on the know side, where it's more holistic. Know thyself. No matter what is another little code, because we have no matter. Have matter, we have no matter. No matter what. No what, no matter, matter what, no matter, no what. And as a literal meaning, again, know thyself no matter what. Who cares if you explode in the process? It happens on the one side. Explosions all happen on the one side, because the one side likes explosions and aggression. It never happens on the zero side, which is more smooth, more natural, more fluent. So know thyself no matter what, or else rot in hell. Comments?
Yeah.
So finally we have hell in here.
Yes, so we come to that point.
Where?
And yeah. And of course now rotten hell is something rude. So we come to the point where he is being rude.
Is he? Maybe he's just being technical. Do people usually rot in hell? What happens to people in hell? Do they rot in hell? Maybe they write in hell?
They suffer.
From hour to hour we write and write. From hour to hour we rot and rot. From hour to hour we write and write, as Shakespeare nearly said. Rot in hell. So, again, what is hell? We don't have any heavens in here, but we have gospels, we have some bad goddess, and we have faith, now we have hell. And obviously, if that's like Lucifer speaking, then he wouldn't be talking about hell, because his whole existence is hell. Because he's not allowed to the other side yet. Maybe that's why he says hell in here. Although it doesn't have to be negative, as you... Do you know German? Or is it just French?
French or German?
So what's hell in German? The word hell. The German word hell.
I'm not sure I know.
Well, it's bright.
Oh.
So whether it's a positive bright or negative bright is another question, but again, there's some positivity even in hell. So hell can be a bright place, a nice place. Maybe it's too bright, maybe, but still, a rotten hell.
Well, in French it's enfer, as far as I know.
Maybe, I don't know.
Infernal, yeah.
Okay.
Corresponding to Dante's Inferno.
Yeah. Infinite.
Infinite suffering.
Yeah. So what is hell really? Maybe it comes from some early culture. I guess it might be the image of hell, not the idea of hell, but the image of hell as something bright. Might come from an early culture where you have other world as gold, bright, fire, sun reality, and then they say, no, your paradise, your other world is our hell, because we don't want people to think that this place is good. So if anyone believes in your rubbish, we're just going to tell people that hell is the bad place, as opposed to your maybe neutral place. Well, anyway, or else wrote in hell. Thanks, man. Know the simple truth. So,
simple truth.
Know the simple. Again, you don't need to go complicated. The simpler, the better. Because if you want to interact with the field, the reality, then it's pretty basic. So, and again, if you read like the Holy Fathers and stuff, they all say that the simple is the best. Your ways should be simple. You shouldn't overcomplicate your ways. Drumming, clapping, dancing, maybe. Again. So know the simple. Know the simple. And know that simple belongs to the no side, the zero side. Simple is how you communicate with the zero side.
Well, if it is within our being simple and preferring simple ways.
Yeah. It's again in one of the Holy Fathers. Oh, you speak to your disciples in a too simple way. You can't do it, you're a clever person. And he says, well, I've been teaching myself this simplicity for the last 40 years. Do you want me to drop it? So simple is the most difficult. Like writing a book for children is infinitely more difficult than writing a book for adults. The brain, the mind comes into play, and there are so few good children books. Not teenager book, but children books. Either people tend to be like patronizing, which is or the brain, the mind takes over and they start being clever, while that's not what the children need. Because if you write for adults, you just use clever words and they're happy. But if you write for children, you must have the ear, the heart, the sense, the nonsense. You have to be a child yourself to write it. So the simple is the hardest. And in our twisted reality, the more complex is better, considered to be better, while in truth, in reality, where does it take you? All this fake pseudo science, which is completely theoretical, has no base in reality whatsoever, while all you need is to open your eyes and look around and just see through your eyes. The simple. But the simple belongs to the know side. Know the simple. Which is why it might be difficult to cross from the brainy one side to the simple no side, maybe. The simple truth. So we have gospel truth, we have simple truth. That trumps time and again. The cleverest thoughts and ideas, policies, laws, or theories of clever soul, disjointed man. Comment? I can't do all the talking.
This is a very popular belief in Christian literature that it's simple people who understand the simple truth, which is the only truth that is worth knowing, and all philosophizing, all the complications philosophers or amateur thinkers go through they often amount to nothing, according to, as you say, the Holy Fathers.
Why?
Because they use their own reasoning faculty instead of relying on what has been revealed to them in a very simple but not simplistic way. And while a person can reason very well, this can lead him or her very far from the original truth.
Or
That's
just from reality, really. Because it's quite deceitful, again.
Yeah.
You just have to look at today's so-called physics. Has nothing to do with reality. Completely just mind theories. So again we have here cleverest thoughts of clever man. So again in the one reality as opposed to zero reality, it's good to be clever, it's good to be complicated, but if you are so disjointed, what good is
so
it?
there's some sort of harmony that is probably characteristic of the earliest times, the times in the paradise, and then the harmony is destroyed by the very power of reason, which leads Adam to try and investigate things for himself to know what's good, what's bad, and things like that. So this is where reason leads to, where a man becomes, or the man at that time, becomes disjointed.
Well, there's another theory which says they become disjointed when they do not admit their fault. It's like, had they admitted the fault, they would have been forgiven, because everybody makes mistakes. But when they try to lie about it, when they try to say, no, it wasn't my fault, it was her fault, because you made this woman, I never asked you to, you made this awful woman, and it's her fault, so it's your fault, not my fault. And the woman is like, it's not my fault, I'm just a girl, there was that serpent, you know. So there are different theories, different interpretations of how to read it. Recently, when I was looking for a poem, I came across another nice version which has to do with Lilith. And they're like, oh, Eve was... I don't think it's a good version, but it's like the way people think. Eve was jealous of Lilith because Lilith used to walk in the paradise, and Adam was thinking about Lilith all the time in the paradise, so she gave him the apple so that they would be thrown away from the paradise. I don't think it's true, because it doesn't work that way in the paradise, but it works that way in the disjointed souls of today's people, alas. You.
Yeah.
So soul disjointed, man. If your soul, what happens first? Your soul gets disjointed, and so reason tries desperately and just futilely, uselessly, hopelessly to do the function of the soul, which got disjointed, and it's not connected, it's broken. So now reason tries to step in and do the job which it's not equipped for. Or do you start with allowing reason to do the soul's job, and then your soul becomes disjointed because you trust your reason too much? Which is the egg and which is the chicken?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Mm-hmm. So if, again, we don't have to follow the Christian line. They will say it's not politically correct because there are lots of other religions and beliefs. But obviously that's our culture, that's intrinsic to our reality, whether we like it or not. So if we take it seriously, then the biggest issue of Christianity, the biggest problem of mankind is losing the paradise, and the whole following history is people looking for the paradise and nothing else. Nothing else matters. That a strange emptiness which everybody feels. Everybody tries to fill in with things or people or job or something else. If you follow the Christian reasoning, then it's your longing for the paradise, which you will never find here. How did we arrive to that point?
Well, of course, the question is, whether we find paradise somewhere else.
We find paradise, the paradise.
Yeah.
That's the idea.
Yeah, that's the idea. That's that's a simple truth that Christians believe in.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not something that our reason tells us, because our reason might just as well say, well, there's no paradise here on earth. Why should you think you'll find it somewhere else?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Phew! I can't believe it. It's the third part. Wow! I triumph at your expense, in case if we forgot what it was about. I comes into play. The big I, the capital I. So why do we use the capital I is a really big question, because the capital I apparently is not the real you. No, the real I is decapitalized, the small dotted I, apparently. Well, anyway, I triumph at your expense. But if I triumph at your expense, really, then I'm not telling you I triumph at your expense. I just triumph. I wouldn't bother to tell you, especially as I don't consider you to be people. Why would I even talk to you? I triumph at your expense. Again, expense, expensive, dear, robbing. I take something from you, and I can take something from you, and yet, something in my heart, something in my heart cannot quite soar. So either something in my heart, a part of my heart which I don't really see or understand, or there's a thing in my heart, and things do not soar. Things lie down more or less dead. They're not dead, but they're more or less dead. And if you have a thing, or think like thought, in your heart, then you're smoking under people's windows. Then there's something wrong with your heart, because you're not supposed to have things or thoughts in your heart. And so your heart, something in your heart, cannot quite soar. Again, soar like flying, or soar like sour, or soar like seeing, maybe, I don't know. Can't quite soar. Though you have given me all I craved, now it changes a little bit, as you can say. Not I have taken from you, like he kept saying throughout the poem, I have robbed you, I have taken all that you had. Now he says, you have given me, which is different. I thought I was robbing you. Now I discover that you were ready to do it from the start. I have never robbed you. You have given me all I crave. It's like a Jesus moment. We are the chick. You have given me all I craved. And more, far, far more. Yet mankind crawls belly down, desperately clinging to life.
Yeah, why would they do that?
Yeah, why would they do it? They're crushed. They're all but destroyed, but they're still surviving. What kind of magic is it? What kind of nonsense?
And they cling to life. They are, despite all the hardship, they cling to life. Somehow.
Yeah, so life, which is real life, like nature, like not dead, like life force, will always beat all evil plants, because evil plants are artificial, and artificial does not survive. It's not flexible enough, because it's artificial. It like a virus, really. It just self-destructs after a while, unless it clings to life, to a life form. While a living being, like a seed, can just lie in earth for centuries, hundreds of years, waiting for the right moment, and no problem. So mankind crawls belly down, desperately clinging to life, so they seem to be defeated. Well, what's the problem? They're not quite dead, maybe that's a problem. Their spirit isn't quite broken, maybe that's a problem. While I feel, shame for me to admit it, shame for me to admit that I can feel, maybe. I'm not supposed to feel, I'm just supposed to do my job mechanistically, mechanically, maybe. It's shameful to feel. Feeling is for lower life forms. Shame for me to admit it. I feel, and I feel shame. And I feel shame for me to admit it. Bored. So, a very bitter poem.
Oh yeah.
I have all but destroyed the world in a clever way, but there's no point. There's no... it's been kind of fun, not bad, but I finished it, and now what? Nothing, emptiness. I'm bored. My enemies have let me down. This victory comes too cheap. So we were talking about dear and expensive, but now it turns cheap. And my enemies have let me down. So mankind crawls belly down, but I am down too. Because of my enemies, like they say, tell me who your enemy is, I'll tell you who you are. one of the variations. So if you're my enemy, but I don't think you're worthy, and that's my mistake, because I underrate you, I underrate humanity. And then this victory comes too cheap. I scarce can celebrate.
Yeah. So, is humanity really underrated by this person who speaks of his victory over and over again? I don't know.
Mm-hmm. So on one hand, humanity is ready to be deceived, is willing to be deceived, is desperate to be deceived. It will believe any kind of rubbish. At the same time, there's something else going on behind it, which this person does not understand, does not see, doesn't feel, because it doesn't belong to his frame of reality, apparently. And then, of course, we have I scarce can celebrate, and then it's like transmission is interrupted, the signal is broken. We don't have the final full stop here. We have nothing, just a pause which goes into infinity, because he doesn't know what to say, he doesn't know what to do. But if we follow it, so like the rest of the page, which is blank, if we follow it, we can go to the no side and to see not what is going on there, apparently. Anything else here? Comments?
No, I don't think so.